Hey guys, I'm Jamie from Bug Gamers again, and this is the third episode, I think, in our modding series. Now, today, I thought I would show you everything we have done. So, everything we're going to do today. So yeah, this is everything we're doing today. We're adding in blocks. Ooh, oops. We're adding in blocks. So we're going to add in ruby ore and ruby block, or block of ruby, whatever you fancy. I think emerald is just, no, it's a block of. I wanted to change that to block of. Wait, what is lap? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, or whatever. So we're going to be adding in blocks, ore generation. So our ore at the moment is actually generating beneath us somewhere. Not generating, has generated somewhere. I'll show you later, but it has. And we're also going to be adding in crafting. So if we do that, it crafts us a ruby block. So now we have 2 ruby blocks. Ooh. So now we can just place that down, do whatever we want with it. Yay. Yeah, that's what we're doing today. And yeah. Okay, so let's get into the code. Right, so what I've done so far is everything, all the items there from last time, but what I've done, actually, I'm just going to delete all the code and show it to you myself. Actually, no, I'm not, I'm just going to explain it through. So what you want to do is you want to create a new public static block and then call it ruby ore or whatever you want. And then you want to do equals new ruby ore, which is an instance of this class, which I'll explain later. You want the item ID and the material. So if it's a material rock, that means when you step on it, that means it has the same properties as rock. And that shouldn't be stone, it should be metal. So, and then you do .set unlocalized name for the texture, .set hardness. And then that's like how hard it is to mine. And then set resistance, which is its TNT resistance, I think. And then step sound, so what sound it is when you step on it. And then I've created another one for a block with different ID, different localized name, different step sound. And then I've added them in the language registry here, which I was going to change. Block of ruby. Then I've registered the ruby ore, but then you have to register the block by doing ruby block, because if you just have that, it will come up with that when it's deprecated, meaning it's less recommended to use it. Same with the init, but I don't know a different way of doing it, so I'm just going to stick with that. So I've added in both these blocks with the game registry.register block. Then you want to use the game registry again and add in a recipe. Now this takes 2 parameters, an item stack for the output and an object for the parameters. So what you want to do is you want to do a new item stack, and in the brackets of the item stack you want to put in the item you're creating and how much of it you want to come out of the recipe. Then after that, in the new object you want to do speech marks, comma, speech marks, comma, speech marks for each slot on the crafting table. Then comma, and then under quotation marks, so just one line, you want to put the letter marks up on here. So say I had R, D, R here, then what I would do is after I've said after I've said the letter R, and then you put what item or block that is, then after that I'm going to put D equal, and then that is item dot diamond. So now to craft a ruby block you need ruby, diamond, ruby, 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 and ruby, ruby, ruby. So that's how you make it. That's how you make a recipe. I'll come on to world generation in a minute. So first, if we go to our Ruby or, now what you want to do is you want to create a new class called Ruby or, whatever you put here. Then you want to extend it from block, and then it should come up with an error here, and it will say like adding constructor. Do that, it'll come up with this, but without these two methods. Then add in the set creative tab to put it in the creative tab block, or whatever one you want. Then now we need to add in the texture. So this is where it's quite complicated. You've got to type in func111022_d. Now all of that. Then in the speech marks, you want to do budmod::ruby or. So that sets it. So that sets the texture. It's different from the item one, because item one is 206. So yeah, it's a different function, but it works all the same. And then you want to do the ID dropped. And you want to do the ID dropped. So int ID dropped, int par1, random par2, int par3, and then return basemod.ruby.itemid. So it will drop the ruby, so you don't have to smelt it. So it's like coal or diamond. Or you could make it drop the ruby or, so it drops the, dot ruby or dot block ID. So then you can go to here, and then after registry, so anywhere in the init method, I'll do game registry dot add smelting, and then input is input's gonna be ruby or dot block ID. The output's going to be new item stack ruby. Oh yeah, so just ruby and then comma 1. Oh, why did it do that? And then in the last method, you want to say how much XP you want to give. So I'm going to set it quite high, so it gives you lots of XP when you smelt it. So yeah, that is how you get rubies. So that's smelting, and then another method after here, public int amount dropped, random par1 random, and then return 3 inside the brackets. So yeah, and then in the Ruby block class is exactly the same, except I've changed the names obviously and the unlocalized name. And yeah, so now the world generators, right? So if I go into, so I've created a new class called Ruby or Generator. Now what this will do is it needs to create a new class and then implements iWorld Generator, and then it'll come up with an error, say add unimplemented methods. Do that and it will create this public void generate with all these parameters. Then inside the brackets of that you want to put this code here, switch world.provider.dimension_id, and that tells you what dimension you're in, so the world, the nether, or the end. So then inside the brackets of the switch method you want to do case 0 : and then in there you want to do generate surface world random chunk times 16 chunk z times 16. So yeah, and then after that you want to break, so then it will leave the method. Then you want to create a new method after the generate, private void generate surface world random block x block z. Then in a for loop counting up to 10. So you probably know how to do a for loop. Count it up to 10. So int I equals 0, I is smaller than 10, I plus plus. Then inside the brackets of the for loop, you want to do int x chord equals block x plus random dot next int 16. Actually, I'm just going to call that x, not x chord. X z y. X y z. So yeah, now so int x equals block x plus random int, block z plus random int, and int y equals random dot next int. So it doesn't add anything; it's just a random number. So yeah, that means this. What this all means is that it can generate a maximum of. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a maximum of 10 of them per chunk, and they can only go. So it's 10 per chunk, and they can only spawn beneath this level 16. I think that's what it means. I'm not unsure, but you know, I think that's what it means. So then what it does is it creates a new world gen mineable, which is I don't know. It creates a new world gen mineable, which is a class in the Minecraft code. So here we are, world gen mineable. So what it does is it creates a new ore. Then it generates it. Yeah. Through the generate method in here. Yeah. So that is that. So yeah, and then to register it, you want to go to gameregistry.register world generator in your init method. Then in the brackets, you want to do new Ruby ore generator, which is what I've named my class. What happened there? So which is what I've named my class, and then do that, and it will register it. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope I haven't explained it too quickly. If you have any questions, leave in the comments. Next tutorial, we will be creating our own creative tab, which I think will be pretty cool. Okay, so I shall see you in the next episode.